Daf Vav Amud Bet, and the sugya that we are in the midst of, still having to do with Baal Ta'acher, is now trying to understand the following statement by Rava on Daf Vav Amud Bet, 3 lines down from the top. I have a statement. V'amar Rava kivin she'avru alav gimel regalim b'chol yom v'yom over Baal Ta'acher. According to Rava, after the Shalosh Regalim have passed, Baal Ta'acher is the gift that keeps on giving. Every single day you're over once again a Baal Ta'acher, meaning every day you're being told, pay by today, pay by today, pay by today. So it's not like you're assessed one-time late fee, but rather every single day is another late fee, another knas. Yeah, to cruise, right. So obviously that's not a good thing. The Breita, however, line 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down, Meitve. Yet we learned in a Breita elsewhere, Echad b'chor v'echad kol hakodshim, kevin she'avru aleim shana b'lo regalim, regalim b'lo shana, over b'bal ta'acher. So the statement, we'll just take it at face value, and the Gemara will surely analyze this statement more in depth. But the statement, at least, of the Breita is that whether you're talking about a bechor, meaning you have to bring the maser bechorim, or whether you're talking about any kind of kodshim that you made a commitment to, once a year without 3 festivals, or 3 festivals without a year has passed, so you're over in Baal Ta'acher. So the Gemara asks on this question, V'hai mai tiyuvte, what exactly is the question here? Okay, so with Baal Ta'acher and Baal Ta'acher, Samar of Kahana, man de kamotiv, shaper kamotiv. This is the correct question to ask right now. How come? Mikdi. Let's see how it plays out. Tana alave kamahader litnei b'chol yom v'yom over b'bal ta'acher v'idach tana. Sorry. So when you have this Breita, what did it mention? It just said that kevin she'avru aleim shana b'lo regalim regalim b'shul shana over b'bal ta'acher. It didn't say each and every day. Rava thinks it's each and every day. Rav is an Amora, but in the world of the Tanoim, they just said over Baal Ta'acher without stipulating that it's each and every day. Yeah. So
you have a year go by without regalim. That doesn't make sense to be possible.
Like I said, that's the next question of the Gemara. It's going to analyze that, but the Gemara skips over regalim below shana, shana below regalim, and says, but if one of those combinations happens, you're over on Baal Ta'acher. But it doesn't say B'chol Yom. The Gemara will double back right after that and say, wait, what does that mean? How is that even possible? It's called Gufa. But you understand, the structure of the Gemara is, and this is instructive in general, Rava made a statement. Rava's an Amora. His assertion could be knocked down by a Breita, which is of higher stature. Mm-hmm. And it's brought in as Exhibit A that the same formulation of if X if the korban isn't given by X time, you're over in Baal Ta'acher. Rava had said each and every day, but the Breita said you're over in Baal Ta'acher. Period.
Just because you're over doesn't mean that you're not over again the next time. I don't see why there's even a contradiction.
Rava thinks it's every single day that goes by.
Why?
If you're a day late, go bring it the next day. 3 days late, bring it the next day.
Precludes that.
Oh,
the
so
just says you're over, but it doesn't say that you're not over again the next day. I mean,
okay, point well taken, and that is exactly what Rava is going to answer. The question against Rava is that it says Mikde Tana alave kamahader, right? Litnei b'chol yom v'yom over b'bal ta'acher. It should have said that if it was really all those lavim v'idach. So what will Rava answer, or what will Arthur answer for Rava? Which is exactly what the Gemara says, right? V'idach tana lemikbe'e belav kamahader belav yitere lo kamahader. The point was just to say that there is a lav, but the frequency of that lav was not mentioned in the Breita. Rava is clarifying. It means b'chol yom bayom. Yeah,
that's the way it starts.
Yeah, exactly. Just the start of the problem, but not the repetition of it. It's not giving you the reps. It's giving you the start. Look at Rashi.
So we're talking about a regular year. We're not talking about a shana little bear.
Let's keep going to the Gemara. We didn't get to that yet. Hold on. You're getting ahead of me. You're also already with the Gemara cup. You're already 10 steps ahead. Well, the rest of us it's simpler. We got to move slowly. Look at Rashi, the second line. Shana below regalim. Look how I'm mefarish because I didn't realize when you read it. So how can you have a year without shalosh regalim? Limikbe belav kamahader. L'hodiacha kol tzidei zman hatchalat bal ta'acher shebo. Right, but alav yateri look lamahader. L'hodiacha lav in harbe shebo. That is not what the point is. That's not what it came to do. Yeah. Look at Tosfot. Tosfot. Where are we? Tosfot. Echad bechor v'echad kol hakodshim. L'hachi nakad bechor. The ikar shana bechor ktiv midichtiv. I think it's actually midikatov is the midichtiv kol. Sorry, midichtiv. Yeah, kol habechor asher yivaled. Melamed shebechor ne'achal kol shanato. Klomar dichtiv be tochalenu shana b'shana ushar kodshim darish hatem midikativ kol. So why is the word bechor first? Right, bechor is brought up because there the Torah in Parshat Re'eh seems to make clear that you have a year to take care of it, and then the drasha to the rest of kodshim comes out of the world of bechor. That's it. That's all Tosfot is trying to convey. Now we get to Gufa, and Gufa, just so you know, means we're now going to analyze the Braita, the language of the Braita that was just brought up. The Braita wasn't brought for the sake of being analyzed. It was brought as in this case, a pircha against Rava. But once we brought it up in the associative way of Shas, oh, by the way, what does that mean? How could you do that? So the Gemara says Gufa. Echad b'chor v'echad kol hakodshim. Kevin she'avar aleim shana below regalim below shana over bal ta'acher. So the Gemara says, Bishlam regalim below shana mishkachet la. You could have the shalosh regalim go by without a full year going by, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot. So that could happen. So Ella Shanabel Regalim Hechem Mishkachala. How is it possible to have a situation where you have Pesach? You have a year without the Regalim. Hechem Mishkachala. So sorry, I forgot to take Tosfot. The next Tosfot we should do also. Bishlam Regalim below Shana Mishkachala. We have that. Kigon the Akadsha Erev Pesach, Vikach HaPerush, Beha de Ka'amar, Ha Nicha Laman de Amar, de Boy Kesidron, Mishkach Legonik Dakache Batar Chagamatzot. So Regalim Below Shana, how could it be? Tosfot explains not Pesach Shavuot Sukkot, but rather that when you require Kesidron, right? Let's say right after Chag HaMatzot, that's when you announced, after Pesach, that's when you announced that you're going to, you're making a korban happen, you're going to make a neder. So now you didn't have 3 Kesidron, so now you're going to have 3 Regalim without a Shana passing. Okay? So those are just amplifies. It's not just the only combination is Pesach Shavuot Sukkot. Could be after Pesach too, if you hold like those who hold that you need, like our Mishnah does from the way back when, the Rashbi holds it's Pesach Shavuot Sukkot. So you did it after Pesach, so you get all the way around to the next year. So that's Shalosh Regalim below Shana. It's going to pass before you get to 3 Regalim.
Can you please read where in the Bach, because Tosfot quotes wherever.
So the Agad Abba says, I'm reading Tosfot with the Bach. Kigon de Akadsha Erev Pesach, Vikach HaPerush. And here's the Perush of what it means. Beha de Ka'amar Hanicha Lamando Amar Debai Kisidron Mishkachala. It goes well according to the one who holds that you need in order. This can happen. Kigon de Akache Batar Chagamatzot. That's what it would be. Yeah. So back to the Gemara. I'll read it again. Right? It's a mouthful. So I'm starting it from the word Gufa. Gufa. It's just quoting the Braita again. Either of those combinations, a year without 3 festivals or 3 festivals without a year, over Baal Ta'acher. You're going to be over on Baal Ta'acher automatically. So Bishlam Regalim below Shana Mishkachatla. You could get to the Regalim without the Shana. That makes sense. Elo Shana below Regalim. Heichi Mishkachatla. How could you say you could have a whole year without 3 Regalim? So the Gemara says, Hanich Lamanda Itle Kesidron. Mishkachatla. Right? If you require Kesidron,
Then you can have a year.
you can have a year. How come? Because you could have 5 holidays. It's way more than a year. Yeah. What about the one who holds that they don't have to be in order? How will you ever have a situation when you can have a shana below regalim? Right? You everyone with me?
Yeah.
So the Gemara says, Bishlam of the Rabbi Mishkachatla b'shana uberet. And now we're up to shana uberet that Ira already intuited when we sat down magically. The shana uberet, right? So Rabbi says the shana uberet. So now, right now, you already have. You only have 2 Shabbases left, but the Shabbos table. So, it's Adar Aleph, it's shana uberet, which reminds me of something I learned in the Gemara. Rosh Hashanah Davav. You'll have them sleeping in no time because they'll have no idea what you're talking about, but you could try. It's a shana uberet. We're learning here at Nafkamina, but how we understand the shana uberet itself.
Yeah.
So, according to Rabbi, you could have this with the shana uberet. Tanya, shana tamima. What's the case of shana tamima? We need to remind ourselves what this is. If you look at Rashi, he kind of explains it. So let's do some of the Rashis. We'll learn it from Rashi. That's the Bate Arichoma. And once we figured it out, if we haven't figured it out there, I'll just say it outside. Let's try it inside. On the last of the wide lines of Rashi, the last word on the line is Hanicha. I'm in Rashi now. And the first of the narrow lines, Hanicha Laman Deboy Kasidron Mishkachatla. Everybody have that? Hanicha Laman Deboy Kasidron Mishkachatla. The Avra Shana will Avru Regalim Kasidron. Right? V'lamdecha the Kevan the Avra Shana Afa Pish Lo Avru Regalim Kasidron Chayav V'Savar La K'Rabbi Shimon B'Chada Upaligale B'Chada. So the idea here that you could have an entire year without having 3 regalim because they're not in order. That would have to be the assumption. Yeah. So having said that, we still have the reality that this Breita actually was saying that whether you had a shana without regalim or regalim without a shana, you would be over in Baal Ta'acher. But remember what Rabbi Shimon held? He held in order to be over on Baal Ta'acher, you needed Kesidron.
Right.
Huh? So the Rashi points out, V'savar like Rabbi Shimon b'chada, upaligeli b'chada. He holds like Rabbi Shimon, you need Kesidron, but he also holds that you could have a shana below regalim, and then you would also be over in Baal Ta'acher. Because the word regalim there would be read with Kesidron. You follow the logic? So he kind of takes part of what Bishlam, according to the one who holds like Rabbi Shimon, sort of, but doesn't hold the other part of Rabbi Shimon, because he still holds you could have a Baal Ta'acher situation even without all 3 Kesidron passing. Yeah. Now, keep going. We're in Rashi. Bishlam al Rabbi de Amar Chodesh Ha'ibor Eino Min Hashana Chutz Miyud Aleph Yom Shishnat Chama Yetera Alavana Mishkach Labishana Meuberet. So this makes sense according to Rabbi. Rabbi has a shita in general. Rabbi's shita is that the extra month is not really from the year, other than the 11 days that the solar year is greater than the lunar year, which you find in the Shana Me'uberet, right?
Right.
Okay. And then the Shana Tamima, what's the Shana Tamima referring to? Ha'amura Bate Arechoma, which is mentioned Bate Arechoma. What's Bate Arechoma? Remember? In Vayikra Chafhei, the story about a person who sells their field. V'im lo yigael ad milot lo Shana Tamima, v'kam habayit asher ba'ir asher lo choma, with a vav, lo asher lo choma, latzmitut. Lakoneoto lo yetze bayovel.
It's read with the Vav. It's written.
Well, I know. I understand. The point is, you sell the house, you have a year buyback option. After that, it's too late. The Torah used the expression Shana Tamima. In the realm of Shana Tamima, so that's quote here, Shana Tamima, Hamur Bati Arichoma, Moneh Shasa Yamim, 365 days. It's a solar year. That's what the Shana is referencing. Vafilu b'Shana Pshuta, even in a regular year. Now that's interesting because in a regular year, means a regular Jewish year, or not 365 days. Exactly. V'apashana be'umberet, kevin she'avru gimel me'ot v'shishim v'chamisha yamim, she'mishemachra, nachlat lo. That's it. It's been decided, formalized, signed, sealed, and there's no, I think the kids would say no backsies. You can't buy it back. It's too late. That's their view. That's the view of Rebbe, excuse me. So according to Rebbe, it works. You could have a Shana without Shalosh Regalim. That's how it would happen. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I lost my place here. But the Chachamim omrim, Moni Yod Bet Chodesh miyom liyom. The Chachamim hold, you do 12 months from the day to the day. You sold it on Tetvav Nisan, that's the next Rashi. All right, Mitetvav B'Nisan l'chamisha asar b'Nisan, im machro b'Tetvav B'Nisan, nit abrolo l'mocher. Yeah. Ve'al korcha shalokech ino nachlat ad shegia Tetvav B'Nisan. In other words, the seller, he sold off his property, he has an extra full month to buy it back. Right? What do we mean a year has gone by? Does we mean count the aggregate of the total days, or does the year mean from the date to the date? Right? We have this problem in a certain way with some of the ambiguity, sometimes about calculating yurt sites. This comes up, right? Is it directly the year, or is it when the date shows up in the calendar again? Well, and there's nafkamina here and there. As we get to that, it's not exactly related, but it's in the family of the whole issue of yurtzeit and Adar. It's Adar Aleph and then Adar Bet. Oh, okay. So according to Chachamim, they just read it differently. Yeah. But according to Rebbe, right, if you were makdish it on, let's say, Motzei Pesach, that's when you decided to do it. You said you're going to give a korban now. I make a pledge, a neder. So according to Rebbe, the year will have gone by once you get to Adar Bet, right? But there aren't 3 holidays that have passed. So right after, let's say after a Motzei Pesach, you say, not like Rabbi Shimon, but Motzei Pesach, you say, I'm giving this korban. So you get a year, according to Rebbe. What's a year? Shavuot, Sukkot, but you're not going to get to the next Pesach before you get through a year. That's Shana B'lo Regalim, because you can get to all 3, because there's an Adar Bet. And then you'd be over in Baal Ta'achet, right? For Rabbanan, it'd be a little bit different. For Rabbanan, we're gonna see there's gonna be a question about Rabbanan. So that's the idea. So okay. So Mishkachala the Rebbe the Akdisha Bater Chagamatzot the Chimata Shili Adar Batra Shana Malya Regalim Lomalu. You didn't get the 3 holidays, but too bad, says Rebbe. You had 365 days, done, and you're over in Baal Ta'acher. El Rabbanan Heichem Mishkachala. How are you going to explain this according to Rabbanan? Again, the Rabbanan hold it's miyom liyom. It goes according to the date. So in what way would the Rabbanan ever be in a situation where you could have an entire year without 3 holidays passing? Right? Because even if it was 13 months, Tetvav Nisan, the next year is still Tetvav Nisan. So that's the 3rd holiday right there. You follow? You're going to be back in the same place where you were before, regardless of what the calendrical number of days that have elapsed. It's because it goes by the name, the label on the date. So the Gemara says, Kidatane Rabbi Shmaya. It has to be according to what Rabbi Shmaya explained. What's that? Atzeret, Pa'amim Hey, Pa'amim Vav, Pa'amim Zayin. Right? Sometimes it's Chamisha, the 5th of Sivan. Sometimes it's the 6th of Sivan. Sometimes it's the 7th of Sivan. So what does that mean? Not like our calendar works today, which is a fixed calendar, but back in the day, there was an assumption that there would be an up for grabs question every year about the date of Rosh Chodesh. For most Yom Tovim, doesn't matter because whatever you set the Rosh Chodesh, so then that number of days after, that's going to be the Yom Tov, but not Shavuos, because Shavuos is not calculated by the date of the month. It's calculated by how many days is Sphira. So once you're doing that, the day on the calendar might shift depending on whether the 2 months that end during Sphira, Nisan and Iyar, are Malay or Chaser. If the case is that Nisan is Malay and Iyar is Malay, they're each a full 30 days. So in Nisan, you got day 16 to day 30. That's 15 days. Iyar, you're going to have day 1 through day 30. That's 30 days. That's 45 days. Then you have 5 days in Sivan to get to 50. So in a Hey Sivan, it's going to be Shavuos. You with me?
Yep.
Play out the next one.
But we already know, we know exactly when Shavuos is because Shabbat told Timothy.
Yeah, no,
So we know exactly when Shavuos is.
But not what day of the month it is. It never says in the Torah it's going to be on Vav Sivan.
No, it doesn't.
If both Nisan and Iyar are Malay, then Shavuos will come out on the 5th day of the month of Sivan,
Okay,
not the 6th.
right.
Again, in Nisan, you start counting the first day of Sphira is the 16th of Nisan.
Correct.
Remember? Mimacharat Shabbat. 16 Nisan through 30 Nisan, that's 15 days.
Right.
Then you have the 1st of Iyar till the 30th of Iyar, inclusive, that's 30 days. So then you have 15 plus 30, that's 45. After day 30 comes day 1 of Sivan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's day 50 equals 5th of Sivan. It's always going to be 50 days from Pesach.
Right.
But if the 2 months are Malayim, then on the calendar, it will say Hey Sivan when we celebrate Shavuos. If, however, they're both Chaserim, then it's the 7th. Exactly, because it's 14 days from the 16th till the 29th. That's 14 days. Exactly. And the 1 to 29 is 29. This is 43, right? And then you add 7 more days to get to 50. So Zion Sivan.
We have an analogous thing going on in our calendar where the last day of Hanukkah has a different date every year depending on how many days Kislev has.
Right, we can't Rosh Chodesh.
Which is the wild card of oscillating. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because I have your, I know.
Oh, you're the
it's
one,
your
right?
side, 'cause I
You're
have your
Gimel
side.
Tevet.
I have Gimel Tevet. And usually Gimel Tevet, when the year that my father was nifter, it was Hanukkah.
Hanukkah was over already.
Yeah,
But
this
some-
year Hanukkah was already the last day of Hanukkah. It's the same thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah, we have.
Confusing.
The Greenfield lecture every day. His yard site is also on Gimel Tevet.
Same day, yeah.
The same day.
Yeah.
Outside the same day.
Yeah. It can be confusing. It reminds me, it's a bit of an aside, but it reminds me that people sometimes make this mistake. They remember a yurt site, or in a case we once had famously in the shul, the bar mitzvah parsha, based on what the parsha was when the child was born.
Oh, wow.
This is not a good idea.
No.
Yes.
So it so happened a few years ago, someone amazing, fantastic, wonderful, didn't check with the rabbi, didn't check with the gabbai, decided our Yingle is going to have the most amazing parsha, and they prepared a whole parsha, and they sat and met with me, and I was like, I have some news for you. If you look up it's not the right parsha. Your child's not bar mitzvah yet. Anyway, Baruch Hashem, brilliant kid, ended up learning the next parsha, and Mazel Tov, did a double parsha, it wasn't even a double parsha. And the next year, already knew the parsha ready for next year. But it warns you, you got to be a little bit careful.
They had a situation in Chabad a few years ago where there was a bar mitzvah on Parshat Pinchas. And the bar mitzvah boy learned Haftarah Pinchas, but Pinchas came during the 3 weeks and it was one of the special Haftarahs. And the rabbi ruled that that they would do both Haftarahs in the same set of brachas.
With someone else taking over the other part that the child didn't, the boy didn't know.
Someone, the bar mitzvah boy only knew the wrong one on. So
Okay, I support the rabbi. I support the rabbi. Aye. Adventures in Gabos.
You do.
Adventures. Okay. That's life. That's life. That's life. Okay. Look at Rashi here. Is the well, before Rashi, we probably learned the Gemara. So to figure out how Rabbanan would get to a shana below Regalim, we need to rely on Reb Shmaya. What does Reb Shmaya say? Give it to Reb Shmaya. Atzeret pa'amim chamisha, pa'amim shisha, pa'amim shiva, in the month of Sivan. Haketzad. Shnein Malayan, chamisha. Shnein chaserin, shiva. Echad malay ve'echad chaser, shisha. Okay? Now, join with me in Rashi. Rashi. Where are we? Batar Chagamatzot. That was the case that was given before, right? As the example, when it's a leap year and right after Pesach, the person made the announcement that they're going to give a korban, and the assumption is they're going to give it within a year. So Batar Chagamatzot. But Rashi tells us B'toch haregel, V'ita amrei la'achar haregel, the beginning or maybe the middle. V'shilhi adar batra lav davka el la'achar shiatza adar ka'amar. Doesn't have to mean at the end of Adar, the second Adar. It could be as long as it's some period of time, but the 365 days have elapsed. That's the point. Shana mal gimel v'shishim v'chamishi yamin. Fine. Now to our Gemara. Pamim shisha, shehu shisha v'sivan, yom ha'chamishim la'omer. Shnei meleim, nisan v'iyar, harei tedvav yamim, nisan v'lamed mi Adar. The iyar, excuse me, I said the Adar. The iyar. Malay, Malay lehu chamishim b'chamishi b'sivan. Echad malay v'chulei. Umishkacha la shana below regalim. Kigon. Here it is. Shnei malayim. Let's say they're both full months, right? So therefore it's going to be on Hey Sivan. V'ira atzeret b'Hei b'Sivan. V'ikdisha l'machar b'Vav Sivan. And on the 6th of Sivan, which that year was Isru Chag, you said, I'm going to give a korban with the next year. Ulashana haba'ah hayushnein chaserin. The next year, what if both of them are chaserin? Remember? So 14 days of Nisan and 29 days of Iyar means you have 43, remainder 7. So it's going to be 7 Sivan. When are you going to hit Shavuos?
yeah.
V'yir atzer b'sayim Sivan. V'shana malaya b'yom vav b'Sivan. Mishi Igdisha. All right? V'adayin lo avar atzer alav. Brilliant, no?
Yeah.
You got it? Because of the fact that things are going to keep oscillating between Malay and Chaser, and really every year they did not know. I'll mention parenthetically here, but you'll bookmark it for Shavuos, so maybe we'll come back to it. It is a bizarre, by our lights, to some of us, that the Gemara describes in Masechet Shabbat on in the Peis, it's Pei Vav, Pei Zayin, Pei Chet, I think it's Pei Vav, I'm bet, if I'm not mistaken. That Moshe Hosif Yom Echad Midaito. He added an extra day before Matan Torah.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't really get the Torah. They're supposed to get it on Vav Sivan. They really got on Zayin Sivan. According to one memra, not everyone agrees, right? But when someone asks you, what happened in Jewish history on Vav Sivan? Be quick to answer. Matan Torah. It was not strange whatsoever to Jews in the time of the Gemara to learn, I think it's Rabbi Natan says it, to learn the possibility that Moshe added a day. And the Torah is really given on Zayin Sivan. Because sometimes in the days of Chazal, they actually celebrated Shavuos on Zayin Sivan.
Mm-hmm.
The same way that, and we've heard this many drushes, many rabbis over the years, right? Where's Har Sinai? We don't know. We don't know, we don't care. Why? Because the Torah is for all places. That's a drush of Chazal, but rabbis are always quoting this. By the by, when is Shavuos going to be? Well, we don't know. We just know it's going to be 50 days after Nisan. After Tet Zayin Nisan, yeah? Counting up. Day 1 is Tet Zayin Nisan, etc. But if you were asking me today, of course, everybody knows it's Vav Sivan, so who are you fooling? In the days of Chazal, when it's still Kiddush Al Pi Re'iyah, they really didn't know. When Sfira would start each year, they didn't know what day Shavuos was going to be. They didn't care. It wasn't tethered at all to the date on the Hebrew calendar.
Yeah.
just to the date on their special Sphira calendar. And it really amplified the idea, number one, of the tethering of Pesach and Shavuos. Number two, to the what's the word? To the transience and the flexibility of when the day of Matan Torah is. You'll tell me we can't celebrate Pesach when it's not Tetvav Nisan. It's preposterous. You're going to sit down in October and say, let's have a Seder. It's nonsense. That's not what the Torah says. But the Torah specifically doesn't give the actual date of Shavuos. And there was a time when Klal Yisrael was actually living Shavuos in that ambiguity. Because the Torah, in and of itself, this is how it was set up. It doesn't matter what day it is, because really, right? B'chol yom yu b'necha kechadashim. Every day it should be renewed. Asher nochim etzavecha hayom al vavecha. The drush of Chazal in several places in the word hayom. You follow? And that's the lesson again and again. We were anchored to a calendar. So first of all, with the exception of what's going on there with Rosh Chodesh Tevet, you know how many days in Kislev, we pretty much know it's going to keep alternating Malei Chaser, Malei Chaser, Malei Chaser, Malei Chaser, Malei Chaser. Yeah. We also therefore know that every year, like clockwork, what a surprise! Shavuos is going to be on Vav Sivan. And therefore, we're a little bit like we lean a little more, if I may say, in the direction of course, the Torah was given on Vav Sivan. It's a historical date. And there was inconvenient Gemara in Masachet Shabbat that says, well, maybe not. Maybe Vav. Maybe Zion, maybe Zion. Interesting. I don't think anybody holds hay, to my recollection. But it could be then also. You understand? So now back to regularly scheduled exciting programming. Yeah, regularly scheduled exciting programming. The Gemara here basically says, when could Rabbanan be in a situation how would they accept the notion of Shana without 3 Regalim having elapsed? The answer is, according to Rabbi Shmaya, where everything is left open-ended for Shavuos. If in 1 year it fell out on a particular date, hey Sivan, and then Vav Sivan therefore was Isra Chag, and you pledged to give a korban, and the assumption was it was going to be done within a year. The next year, it worked out that Shavuos was going to be on Zion Sivan. When Vav Sivan rolls around, the day before Shavuos starts, you're over in Baal Ta'acher. But there haven't been 3 holidays that have passed. Yeah. You just got a Sukkot and a Pesach. Mm-hmm. So that's the basic gist of how they sort of would get out of it. Okay. Uman Tana de Palig Alei de Reb Shmaya. If you're looking at Tosfot Dibur Matchel Yoresh Mahu B'Bal Ta'acher, follow your eye along from Yoresh Mahu B'Bal Ta'acher. First word on the line is Chaser. Okay. Uman Tana de Palig Alei de Rav Shmaya. Who disagrees with Shmaya? Answer: Acherim he. The Acherim. In one place, the commentators point out Acherim means Rabbi Meir. The Tanya, because it says in the Braita, Acherim Omrim, Ein ben Atzeret Latzeret, Ein ben Rosh Hashanah Elo Dal Yamim Bilvad. Right? It's not going to be. There isn't going to be a distinction between years more than 4 days on the weekday calendar between one year's observance of a holiday to the next. So if Shavuos fell out on a Shabbos, then the next year would fall out on a Wednesday. And the following year would fall out on a Sunday. Just keep adding 4 days every year. Okay. Acherim, that's Rabbi Meir. He has much more of a fixed idea. Look at Rashi. Man Tana Kamad lo Ayri b'Shana b'lo Regalim. There's obviously someone who holds doesn't hold of Shana without Regalim. It's not possible. Who is that? So that's Acherim. Elo Dal Yamin. What's a Dal Yamin? Look at Rashi. Kasavri le'olam kol chodshei Shana echad mali v'echad chaser. Ve'ein ma'abrin, ve'ein mechasrin, shum chodesh, litzorach. Right? V'haviyala, shana, shin, nun, dalad, yamim, nimtzeit kol shana, shvu'ayim, shloimim, chaser, midalad, yamim. In other words, it's fixed. Every year, there's no such thing as adding a month. Once the calendar is fixed, it's Male chaser, male chaser, male chaser, male chaser. Everybody's happy. And therefore, the year is 354 days. And therefore, the entire year, solar year, which is 365, gives you basically, gives you, Nimsed kol shana shvu'ayim shleimim chutz midalad yamim. Yeah, an 11 days discrepancy.
Whole weeks and 4 days.
Oh, you're right. Shvuim. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Sorry. Shvuim shleimim. Thank you. Full weeks, and there's a 4-day remainder between those. Right? It's how does the math go? It's going to be
7 goes into 350.
That's what it is.
4 remains.
Yeah. So it's and basically that's going to be the discrepancy year over year. But what day of the week the holidays will fall? Ve'ena dochin. Well, sorry, I skipped a line right there. Ve'ena dochin kviut hashana mikviut chaverta. That's the whole discrepancy is 4 days each time, right? So you have, in other words, 6 months of 29 days apiece and 6 months of 30 days apiece. So 6 times 29, 174. 6 times 30, that's 180. 180 and 174, 354. You divide 354 by 7 days of the week, you get 50 full weeks and 4 days left over. And those 4 days is a discrepancy from 1 year to the next for each of the Yom Tovim.
Well, in a non-leap year.
Oh, V'im Hayta Shana Mu'beret, says the Gemara, Chamisha. That'll be 5. Again to Rashi, V'im Hayta Shana Mu'beret Chamisha. Kasavar.
In order for that to work, the extra month has to be only 29 days. Because right now we have an extra month, it's 30 days. In 30 days, we put an extra 4 weeks and 2 days.
That's right.
So if you're only going from 4 to 5, it means the extra month has to have only 29 days.
Yes, correct. Rashi, Kasavar Chodesh Ibril Olam Chaser. Ve'ein adochet moadot el yom echad shu yeter al adal shavot. Right. Okay, now let me just sew it up.
And if the extra month has only 29 days, it's going to mess up the seasons pretty quickly. I mean, you're going to lose 7 days every 19 years. That's going to.
Yeah, we don't paskin that way, as you know.
We don't paskin that way. It's a good thing we don't, because it would throw up the seasons rather quickly.
Excellent. So let's just sum it up. According to the Acherim, Nisan is Mali and Iyar is Chaser, always. And therefore, Shavuos is always on the 6th of Sivan. And therefore, there is no chance, right, that you're ever going to have a Shana without 3 Regalim passing, right? When you're Makdish on Vav Sivan, so it's going to be Shavuos that day, every single year, right? So in other words, all this worked out according to Rabbanan using Rabbi Shmaya. But if you don't hold like that, right, the Acherim hold that everything's just oscillating, everything is fixed. And what does that basically mean? You're never going to have a situation of Shana below Regalim. Because after a year has passed, for sure the 3 holidays have passed as well. And that's the basic idea. When you understand this, you realize, again, how shall I say? We're always trying to figure it out in terms of the sequencing of years and holidays, how this works, and when you're over in Baal Ta'acher. And the Gemara is still trying to figure it out. I think we're actually going to stop here if it's okay, because the next thing is a series of questions by Rabbi Zera. There's by Rabbi Zera and by Rabbi Zera. And I think it just makes more sense to just stop here. I also have another shir coming up, but I still have to call someone bereaved between now and 8:15. Yeah. Yeah.
In a leap year, people think, well, the extra month is Adar Sheni. It's not. Because in a regular year, Adar has 29 days. And Adar Sheni has 29 days. The extra month is really Adar Rishon, when you're getting 30 extra days.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, if the person died on a leap year, another Sheni, then do another Aleph. Yeah, Adar Aleph with a bit of Adar Bet as well.
It's another argument to justify why Purim is in the second Adar. You know, there are lots of other arguments in the Gemara. But one very simple argument is Adar Sheni is the real Adar.
Yeah.
The first one is the next.
I'm gonna just point out,
Right.
Adar Sheni is the real Adar today. But in the time of the Gemara, they didn't know in Adar Aleph necessarily if they're going to be Ma'aber Deshana yet. And that's where you have the Mishnayot in Masachet Megillah of the Ein Bains. There's the Ein Bain, Adar Rishon, Adar Sheni. How come? Because they said we just did Purim. We're doing it again? No, Ein Bain. But this is what's going to be different. But that's where it comes up, because back in the day, and this, again, the way, and we're going to need this for later on, so I'm priming the pump for when we get there. The way we think about time in the world today is not the same way they thought about it in the days when there's Kiddush al pi Re'iyah.
Right.
The paradigms were different. So I gave you the example of Shavuos, but there's another example. Now you brought it up. Will the real Adar stand up? Well, the real Adar, of course, is Adar Sheni by the numbers, and today by the observance of Purim. I mean, the other example, reasons given, yeah, to be somewhat Geula to Geula, all of that. But back in the day, it was the other, it was opposite. We didn't know what was going to happen because it hadn't happened yet. So we were waiting. Adar Aleph. Is there only one Adar this year? Maybe there'll be two. Well, when will we know? We'll let you know as we get closer to the end of Adar. What's going to happen? So it's been shifting around. Okay, we're going to stop here. I'm giving another share in 17 minutes, and I still have to call someone between now and then. So I wish everyone a great night. Next week, Thursday night. We'll just stick with Thursday night until Pesach, and then God willing, it'll be smoother sailing to just move back to our regular night, regular time. But for now, it's the best we could do. Laila Tov. Talk to you soon.